From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
I'm Edgar Cedillo in Gallatin County. The Bozeman Police Department and the Gallatin County Sheriff's Office are set to roll out their body-worn cameras by the end of the year. I'll tell you what some of those hurdles have been coming up.
I'm Jonathan Amberian in Helena. This weekend will mark the launch of 988, a new 3-digit number for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. I'll let you know what leaders say the change will mean for Montana.
Happy Wednesday, Southwest Montana. It is 6:30. Chet Lehman, Matt Elwell with you here. The final quarter of this popsicle.
That's your popsicle.
That's
yeah.
my popsicle. Thank you very much.
There you go.
I will be enjoying that.
It's not one of the rich and $10 popsicles.
No, it's not one of the. We're not going to eat the rich. We're just going to eat the popsicle. A good day to do so. If you're going to give one to your kids this afternoon, have plenty of paper towels or napkins around because they're going to melt pretty quickly.
They will. Temperatures are going to be really hot. We have some moisture in the atmosphere, and what that's going to create is unstable atmosphere, and that means thunder showers. That's basically the weather terms broken down.
My unstable attitude about it.
You've got a lot of instability with you. Afternoon thunder showers. Some of these will actually be fairly hefty thunder showers. You get into that 2, 3, 4 o'clock range. Some of the stronger storms are expected to form. Daytime highs today. The heat is no joke. Get a popsicle, drink plenty of water, find ways to stay cool. Check on the elderly. Temperatures are going to be fairly hot through the afternoon, and we will continue that trend again tomorrow. We'll talk about how long this is all going to last coming up in just a few minutes.
Tim, that popsicle's just staring at me sitting over there. 6:31, our top story this half hour. Central Valley Fire District responded to a call of a haystack fire near Jackrabbit and Valley Center Road yesterday. There was worry that a nearby power line could be threatened. Northwestern Energy crews able to check on the power line. There was no damage. Officials said the fire could burn for a couple of days given that it was a haystack. Cause of that blaze remains under investigation. Yellowstone National Park reopening even more territories to its visitors. Slough Creek will open to backcountry use starting today. That means the road from Tower Junction to Slough Creek, which had been closed for a month, will reopen, but only to those with overnight backcountry permits. Other park visitors will not be allowed on the corridor to Slough Creek. Campground itself and the road beyond that will remain closed. Some closed areas also opening to foot and bicycle traffic. That includes the north entrance up to the Rescue Creek Trailhead. That's about 1 mile. From the northeast entrance at Silvergate, hikers and bikers may travel up to 16 miles to the Baronet Meadows area. Well, local law enforcement getting a new tool that's already commonly used across much of the country. TN's Edgar Cedillo takes a look at this new technology. It's about the size of a sticky note.
Currently, the Bozeman Police Department and the Gallatin County Sheriff's Office only have the ability to record video in cars, but that will soon change with the addition of body-worn cameras.
There have been a lot of citizens that already thought we had body-worn cameras, and so that just shows that it's clearly time to have the body-worn cameras.
With body camera policies in place, Bozeman officers will soon be wearing the cameras.
Actually implementing the body-worn cameras right around the end of the summer.
The Gallatin County Sheriff's Office will soon follow suit, but they say supply chain issues has delayed the shipment of their cameras. They aim to give deputies body-worn cameras by the end of the year.
Once we get all of the equipment, then we can actually get the training scheduled, which we're hoping to have done by the end of August. And then based on how that goes and how the equipment build out has gone, we can be looking at a rollout after that.
With input from the community, Bozeman Police released a 6-page policy draft last week. The draft covers a wide range of topics ranging from when and where officers will record, when not to record, and cover how recordings will be released. Chief Velkamp says drafting the policy was all about finding a balance.
The duty to document and record exactly what happened on every call, in part for court as evidence. But additionally, the second half is making sure that we're respecting people's right to privacy.
The body camera technology both departments will use works with the existing car video system.
We don't want to rush the training piece because everything is linked to another. The cameras in the car are linked to the cameras on the body, which are linked to the lights in the car. And then all of that is synced to the infrastructure that's built out on the actual buildings themselves.
For both departments, building a stronger sense of community remains at the forefront.
Body-worn cameras are going to provide a wide variety of benefits, and one of those obviously is transparency.
the community. This is just another tool that supports that relationship with the community.
In Gallatin County, Edgar Cedillo, MTN News.
All right, 6:35 now. Montana had the third highest rate of suicide of any state in the U.S. in 2020. Only Wyoming and Alaska had higher rates. Over the last 10 years, the state reports suicide has been the #2 cause of death in Montana. Now, MTN's Jonathan Emberian reports state and national leaders are highlighting the upcoming launch of 988. It's a new 3-digit phone number to connect people to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline.
Starting Saturday, people in Montana can dial 988 to get connected to a local crisis center. Advocates say it's going to be a big day.
It's a huge step forward for us and for all the families that we serve, just to know that help is that much closer.
On Tuesday, Governor Greg Gianforte and other leaders from around Montana gathered in Helena, encouraging people to spread the word about the new number.
I'm filled with optimism about the promise of this new initiative. To any Montanan that may be struggling today, know that you are not alone. There are folks who are ready to help, and you can find them by calling 988.
Gianforte said the state will use a $400,000 grant to help support staffing at the 3 Montana call centers that take Lifeline calls. The goal is to make sure they can continue to handle at least 90% of the calls in-state after 988 launches. Matt Kuntz, executive director of NAMI Montana, says a big part of their work is helping people know what to do when someone's in crisis.
And to have a number that people can just know and memorize and have it be on the tip of their tongue for when they need it is huge.
Matt Taylor with the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline hopes 988 will become as universal as 911.
It's more than just being an easy number to remember. It's also about providing more equitable services across the nation and in Montana. It's about putting mental health crisis services at the same level of accessibility as our emergency medical services and law enforcement.
During Tuesday's event, leaders also unveiled a series of posters promoting 988, designed by art students at Montana State University.
What they strived for was to use their talents. They created powerful visual artwork. In an attempt to bring more awareness, they created artwork with messages of hope and reassurance.
Leaders say Montana has had one of the best rates in the country of handling Lifeline calls within the state. That makes them optimistic that the call centers in this state will be ready to handle it if they see any jump in calls due to 988. In Helena, Jonathan Emberian, MTN News.
Now, as Jonathan mentioned, 988 goes into effect on Saturday. If you or someone you know suffering, and help and resources are available before that 24/7, you can call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline 1-800-273-8255. You can also send text the letters MT to 741-741. 6:38 now. Another potential interest rate hike could be decided this month as the government tries to combat the worst inflation in nearly 40 years. It's a difficult thing to do. Tip the scales of the economy just enough to slow inflation without throwing us into a recession. Dan Grossman looks at how the Federal Reserve is working to try to do that.
I think it's really important in this instance to separate out between the short term and the long term.
David Wessel doesn't say this to scare us, rather paint a realistic picture of what is going on with the economy.
I expect that more likely than not we'll have a recession in 2023. That means higher unemployment.
Wessel is the director of the Hutchins Center on Fiscal and Monetary Policy at the Brookings Institution, a nonpartisan research group established more than 100 years ago. He's trying to answer the question we all have: when will prices go down? The difficult part is to do it. The Federal Reserve must shrink the economy through higher interest rates that make borrowing money more expensive and deter people from buying.
What they're basically saying is we're going to have some short-term pain in order to avoid much worse pain down the road. And that's easy for them to say because they all have jobs but it's really unpleasant if you're on the person who has to bear the pain.
For more than a decade, Wessel says a lot of things were happening that favored lower prices. Increased globalization, favorable trade deals, and more workers coming into the world economy. But after the pandemic, that changed. The massive amounts of stimulus money pumped into the economy to buoy families during that time among them.
We might be at an inflection point where a lot of the forces in the global economy were winds blowing to push prices down. And now some of those winds have shifted. And when we get through this ugly period, it may be that the forces of the world economy are pushing prices up.
The difficult part about combating those forces in the short term, Wessel says, is the Federal Reserve cannot predict how much its policies will affect the economy. It can only go off data from the past. It's why we've seen incremental interest rate hikes as the Fed evaluates the impact and then decides on next steps. In the longer term, Wessel says the Federal Reserve is looking at solutions that would sustain a strengthened economy, such as promoting more competition to knock prices, empowering unions to pump wages, and growing productivity.
If we make these investments, we have reason to believe that we can have faster productivity growth, and that will allow us to have more goods and services without paying more for them. That would be the happy ending.
I'm Dan Grossman.